watched Bewitched, and then the boys came on, and the wall of noise from these delightful little girls, because some of them were quite small, absolutely blew me away. It was like a physical force, the noise of these girls suddenly screaming. And they were all shouting for the main lad, who was a boy called Ronan. Well, I was so innocent as to this band at the time, I didn't even know the names of the band members. So above my head to the lady in front, I'm going, which one is Ronan? Which really showed my ignorance. But it was, my overwhelming memory was just the sudden change. And some of these little, they were little, some of them had even got their party dresses on, they were that small. And suddenly the noise that came from them was absolutely breathtaking. They loved it.
Okay, when Philip and I were younger, we did, we went to lots of concerts, pop concerts. And I have to say that now, that kind of thing kind of scares me a little bit. I think when you're younger, you're much more used to being in large crowds of people. When you are at school, when you have assemblies at school, and you might be in a school that's got 1,000 pupils in it. So crowds are just normal. And I don't know, some of the young people would be able to tell me that crowds are kind of what you like being with lots of people your own age. And I want us just to think for a moment about what brings people together. And I've mentioned lots of different events that you might be in a crowd with lots of other people. One of the things might be a common purpose. As I said before, something that you all want to do together, something that you all have an interest in, even that you're passionate in. And if I'm thinking about yesterday was the FA Cup final, wasn't it? All those people that would have gone to watch the FA Cup final, if they'd been allowed to, all had a kind of belief or even a faith in their football team, whether it was Arsenal or whether it was Chelsea. And I suppose in a way that's why, under normal times, what unites us as a group, as a church, is our faith. Not a faith in a football team, but a faith in a very, very different thing. And now Kathy's going to continue leading our service.
So this is the moment in the service where we just take a few minutes to think about something that we might want to say sorry for. And I wondered this week, if you struggle to think about something to say sorry for, if you'd like to think about something that you wish you had done rather than something that you rather hope you hadn't done. So is there something that you wish you had done, a missed opportunity, a chance to say something kind, a chance to help someone, and what maybe just stopped you? So let's just take a few minutes to think about what we'd like to say sorry for this morning. And then we pray together. Father God, we are sorry for things we do and say and think which make you sad. And not thinking of others before ourselves. Please forgive us and help us to love you and people more and more. Amen. May the God of love bring us back to himself, forgive us our sins, and assure us of his eternal love in Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
So we're thinking today about the story of the loaves and the fishes. I wonder how many of you know that story?
Me.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Good. I'm glad you're all saying yes, because we're going to, because you know it so well, we thought, oh, guys, sorry, I'm using a different computer. It's a little difficult. Okay, so we thought that because you know the story so well, you could rewrite it. So here on the screen are all the bits from the story, and we have to put them in the right order. So you need to unmute yourselves and tell me which is the first bit of the story.
Taking the 5 loaves and 2 fish. No, oh sorry.
No idea.
Wait, no, I can't.
So how does the story start?
There's something about a boat, isn't there?
Jesus withdrew. Number 5.
Number 5 is the beginning. There's a big clue. Normally, things start with a capital letter.
Of course, yes, capital. The kids
11.
are telling me, Mummy, you should know that. Yep.
13 or 11?
Went ashore, he saw a great crowd.
Or 13.
That. But when
11. That's 11.
Evening.
Yes, that's it.
No, I think it's 11 or 13.
11.
13.
What's the consensus?
Huh?
7 and how many?
13.
Are we deleted?
Yeah, 11.
Okay, put your hands up if you think 11.
The semicolon.
Okay.
Put your hands up. Okay, actually,
13.
it's 6.
No, 6.
Oh, right, I did wonder.
Up to there.
Yeah.
Okay, so
61.
Now, what was number 6?
when Jesus,
She just took it from.
what's the next
Jesus
bit?
went from there in a boat to a deserted place by himself.
Now when Jesus.
Number 5.
Number 5, well done. Now, when Jesus heard that, he withdrew from there in a boat to a deserted place by himself.
7.
What's next?
Number 7.
Number 7. But when the crowds heard it, they followed him on foot from. Let me just find it. When the crowds heard it, they followed him on foot from the towns. Next.
11.
When he went ashore, he saw a great crowd.
9.
Hang on, come in the body. You're not allowed to look at your bits of paper. When he went ashore, what's after that?
Is it 9?
No.
10?
When he went ashore, no, Maya.
Is it 9?
No.
12?
13. 10. Number 10.
This evening, the disciples came to him and said, "This is a deserted
Send the crowds away. 12?
Hang on, this is a deserted place, a 9, and the hour is now
9.
12.
and the hour is now late." What did he do? What did the disciples want to do with the crowd?
Send the crowds away.
Yeah, that's right.
Send the crowds away.
This is a deserted place and the hour is now late. Send the crowds away so that they may go into the villages and buy food for themselves. But what did Jesus?
12.
Number 9.
Number 4.
We've had 9. What did Jesus say?
Number 4.
Yes, Jesus said to them, they need not go away. You give them something to eat. They replied, we have nothing here but 5 loaves and 2 fish.
Number 1. Number 1.
There's something just before number 1.
7.
Number 8.
No.
Yep, and Jesus said, bring them here to me, bring the loaves and fish here to me. Then he ordered the crowds to sit down on the grass, and then who said 1?
I think it was Benny.
Number 1.
Number 1, Benny, taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he looked up to heaven and blessed and broke the loaves and gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the crowds.
Number 2.
And
Number 7.
Hold on, and all ate and were filled, and they took up what was left over of the broken pieces, 12 baskets full. Last one.
Number 7.
I had that one.
3.
Did somebody say number 3?
Yes,
3.
Number 3, and those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children.
Ice cream.
Is. Has anyone ever asked you to share their ice cream?
Yeah.
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 And how many of you find it easy to share?
No.
What would you share? Would you share everything that you have?
No.
No, what would you share?
I'd share probably half of it.
You'd share half of it. Who'd share chocolate?
Me, I said chocolate.
Sorry, Catherine would share chocolate. Who would share clothes? Would you share your clothes with anyone?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would, Maya. I wouldn't. I wouldn't share chocolate or my clothes. Who would share your toys?
Me.
No.
As I'm getting older.
Who would share their house with somebody?
Me.
You would. Okay. When I used to share a house with my friends, and we would sometimes get a Chinese for dinner, my friend would say, can I have a bit of your rice? And I would say, no, my rice is my rice. If you want rice, you get your own rice. Each of the 4, I know it's terrible, isn't it? Each of the 4 Gospels, so each of the 4, Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, have got at least an account of this story of the loaves and fishes. And this version in Matthew doesn't have a little boy like lots of the other stories. So either one of the disciples or one of the crowd thought to bring some food, but they only thought to bring food for themselves. I remember that we met up with one of my friends at Dunstable Downs, and we had a picnic. And I thought we were having a bring your own picnic, but they obviously thought they were just having a bring your own picnic. So I brought enough food that it wasn't quite a picnic, but I brought food to share with my friends, and they brought their 4 little sandwiches. So I was left with about 600 sausage rolls on my own, which I did fine share. But no sandwiches and no cake and no drinks because they were bringing for themselves. Okay, so we need to remember that Jesus has had a really hard time. He'd been teaching the crowds and his disciples. He'd gone home to Nazareth and he'd spoken in the synagogue and had been rejected. They said, no, you're not one of us, go away. And then he had news that his cousin, John the Baptist, had been beheaded. So all he wanted was a bit of peace and quiet. He wanted a bit of time to think about John. He wanted a bit of time to pray without people constantly asking him questions. And most of all, he wanted some time, just him and God. But did he get it? He got into a boat and thought, I'll just nip across the lake, but nobody knows where I'm going, and I can get my little bit of peace and quiet. But when he got to the other side, all those people had walked round the lake, and there they were waiting for him. And he saw the crowd, and he had compassion on them and healed them. He could so easily have said, I'm so sorry, but this is my day off. And he could have stalked off into the wilderness and said, you just stay there, I'm off. But for Jesus, the sick and the lonely and the outcast were always there and always present. And so he had compassion on them. He healed them, fed them, and then, and only then, did he go and spend time alone with God to recharge his batteries. So this is a story about sharing. Jesus shared of himself. We're going to have a go at singing. And it's a bit of a fast song, but we're going to sing it twice, I think. And it's a song that you can dance to if you want to. And it's a song that you can clap to and wiggle your hips, for those of you who want to do that. And hopefully... Right then, do you all see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, oh, sorry. There we go. Can you see all the words? It's
Yeah.
Lord of Lords. Okay.
Can, did you say twice or 3 times?
Twice with a little twiddly bit.
The twiddly bit was going to be at the end, wasn't it?
Yeah. So you need to put yourselves on mute. Rachel and Miriam, you need to go on mute so that you can sing as loud as you want.
I haven't got the mute. Can you do it for me, please?
Sunil will. I can't.
Sunil.
Oh, should we put ourselves on mute?
Yes, please.
Oh.
Right, there's a little echo. Okay, I've done that. Moira, I'll put you on mute. Okay, guys, thank you. Innie and Benny and Tommy are going to be very clever and read to us from all 3 of the Bible readings. Let me just put you on spotlight.
Everyone. Everyone who thirsts, come to the waters. This sketch is a blend of this Sunday's set readings from Isaiah 55, 1 to 5, Psalm 145, 8 to 9, and 14 to 21, and Matthew chapter 14, verses 13 to 21.
Jesus withdrew in a boat to a deserted place by himself. But when the crowds heard, they followed him on foot from the towns.
The Lord is gracious and merciful, slow to anger and abounding in steadfast love. He has compassion over all that he has made.
When he went ashore, he saw a great crowd, and he had compassion for them and cured the sick.
Everyone who thirsts, come to the waters, and you that have no money, come, buy and eat. Come, buy wine and milk, without money and without price.
When it was evening, the disciples came to him and said, "This is a deserted place, and the hour is now late. Send the crowds away, so that they may go into the villages and buy food for themselves."
The Lord is good to all. He upholds all who are falling and raises up all who are bowed down.
Jesus said to them, "They need not go away. You give them something to eat."
Why do you spend your money for that which is not bread, and you labor for that which does not satisfy? Listen carefully to me, and eat what is good, and delight yourselves in rich food.
They replied, "We have nothing here but 5 loaves and 2 fish."
The Lord gives food in due season and opens his hand to satisfy the desire of every living thing.
Jesus said, "Bring them here to me."
Incline your ear and come to me. Listen, so that you may live. I will make an everlasting covenant with you.
Then he ordered the crowds to sit down on the grass. From the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, he looked up to heaven and blessed and broke the loaves and gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the crowds.
The Lord is just in all his ways and kind in all his doings.
Everyone who thirsts, come to the waters. And you who have no money, come, buy and eat. Come, buy wine and milk without money and without price.
And all ate and were filled, and they took up what was left over of the broken pieces, 12 baskets.
The Lord is near to all who call on him, to all who call on him in trust.
And those who ate were about 5,000 men, besides women and children.
My mouth will speak the praise of the Lord, and all my flesh will bless his holy name forever and ever.
This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God.
That was lovely. Thank you.
That was good.
It was good, wasn't it?
Thank you.
So, it had been a long day and everyone was hungry. And if the crowd were tired and hungry, you can bet that Jesus and his disciples probably were as well. And the disciples, well, you know, they weren't always these holy people that we think they were. Sometimes they just thought about themselves. So I think, thinking about themselves, they said to Jesus, "Why don't you send the crowd away and they can go and get something to eat?" And Jesus says, he puts the responsibility back to the disciples and says, well, can't we share what we've got? And you can just see the disciples' heads ticking away. And then I thought, but there is nothing to share. So this gospel, this book of Matthew, was written specifically for Jewish people. And the story would have resonated. They would have remembered about Moses and the manna in the desert. They would have remembered about Elisha feeding a huge crowd with loaves and having basketfuls left over. And for us here in 2020, what does Jesus feeding people remind you of? What do we do normally every Sunday in church? You need to put yourselves on unmute.
Communion. Say
Communion.
No, not those.
Communion.
Yeah.
Pray.
There's a man called William Barclay, and he wrote a commentary, and he gives 3 possible explanations. He says, somehow Jesus took the bread and the loaves and multiplied them, and so there was enough for all people. And he says that's one explanation. The second explanation is he says, well, maybe everybody had a tiny, tiny bit, and it's a bit like spiritual food. So enough of that tiny, tiny food was just enough, it was symbolic. The third explanation that he gives is that it's unlikely that all those people came such a long way without the forethought of bringing food with them. Have any of you ever been on a picnic and forgotten to take the food?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, well, you're very good, I have. However, each of those people, so they all had their 4 little sandwiches and their drink, but none of them wanted to get their food out in front of everybody else, just in case they would have to share it. So when Jesus took the loaves and the fish in his hand, and he held them up to God and blessed them, and started to share them, he gave permission for all those people with their little picnics to start to do the same. Now, you and I, if we were in Fairlands Park, we might not think to share our picnic with other people, but this was different time, and in Jesus' time, it would have been quite normal that if you got your food out next to a group of people and they didn't have any, then you would share it with them. So it was perfectly normal in Jesus' time for people to share picnics. And I think that the miracle that happens is that people stopped thinking about themselves and used their little resources so that everyone would have enough, and they shared, and there was enough left over for all people. There will always be times that we think that we're not good enough. There will always be places that we find ourselves in and we think, I can't do this. I'm not meant to do this. I haven't got the skills. There will always be somebody that says, can I have a bit more of your time? Can I have a bit more of your generosity? Can I have a bit more of your love? Could you just do this for me? And we'll feel, you know what, I'm not good enough to do that. Don't ask me. I haven't got the skills. And we cannot do what people are asking us. And we think, well, am I just going to run away? What am I going to do? Do you know, often the biggest obstacle to God working is us. We fail to trust that God will take our small offering of 5 loaves and 2 fish and work a miracle with them. If we were in church and we came up for communion and we received the bread, we become Christ's body here on earth. And Jesus looks at us, looks at Innie, looks at Catherine, looks at Barbara, so looks at all those people on there. Well, I can't make. Looks at Guy, looks at Sunil, looks at Steve and Maya and Moira and Caroline and Philip. And Jesus says, I have given you enough to do the work that needs to be done. We don't have to be a priest or a minister. We don't have to be the Prime Minister. We don't need special gifts or lots and lots of money or a big house. Each of us has got the equivalent of 5 loaves and 2 small fish. And Jesus looks at us and says, "You are sufficient to do my work." God asks that we give our small gifts and that God will multiply them more than 100-fold. So by ourselves, probably we might not be sufficient. We cannot feed the whole world. We can't help all the refugee children. We can't make world peace. We can't raise the money for a church roof. The only thing that we have to offer to God is our small selves, and God will take us, and God will make a miracle. When we bring up the bread and wine and your gifts in a normal church service at communion, they are symbols of you and me. And when we say the prayer just before communion, what we're really saying to God is, by myself, I'm not enough. But with your grace, a miracle shall happen, and I shall be sufficient to do your work. Catherine's going to help us pray now. And we're going to use the whiteboard.
Thank you.
So kids, you wait for Catherine to tell you what she wants you to do, and then you can do it.
Okay, I'm going to need some help. Innie, are Ebony and Tommy able to access the screen and help out?
Yes, I think they can.
I need a fish. I can't do it, which is fortunate because I can't draw either. I'd like a fish and a bread roll, please.
Okay. Okay. Then Tommy, you draw a fish. Okay.
Okay.
Sandy,
Draw the fish underneath where it says fish here, and draw the bread roll underneath where it says bread roll.
Chandy,
Yeah.
are you able to write the little readings out for me as well? Come follow me and I will send you out to fish for people.
Yeah.
A fishman.
Yeah, it sounds like.
And then can I have one for the bread roll?
Yeah.
Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty.
Sorry, whoever comes to me shall never go hungry.
Whoever believes in me will never be thirsty.
Wait, change the format.
That's a good fish.
Thank you. I know. Okay, what colour should I use? Because there's not.
Hurry up though.
Yeah.
Maybe do a circle and then details. Yeah. Or maybe do it bigger.
While we're waiting for the bread roll, if we just like to take a few minutes to look at the fish, and while we're looking at the fish, think about something you are grateful for in your life.
Hey, that's rude, Rachel.
For in your life. managed to draw a much better bread roll than when I tried yesterday. So thank you for that. While we're looking at the bread roll, would you like to think about someone you know who needs Jesus in their life? Would anybody like anything written up? I think Chandy, I think Ebony and Tommy might be able to help with some of the writing as well, if anybody wants to call anything.
Yeah, I think Maya can do it as well. Maya's quite good.
Oh, Maya can do it. Any help gratefully received. Would anybody like anything written up by anyone who can access the screen?
I can't access the screen on my phone, but one thing I'm very grateful for is the ability to cycle around.
Anyone else?
Everybody's muted. That's why.
Unmute yourselves then. If you want to talk. Elsie, David, do you want to say thank you for anything?
I want to say thank you to NHS for doing all they can.
Okay.
Friends and family.
Excuse me, if you would like to type or draw, you should go on to if you're on Chandy screen, you'll see a green bit where it says you are viewing Chandy screen. Next to that it says view options. If you click on it, annotate. Yes. Well, that annotate makes it so you can type and format. Change the color.
Okay. Right.
Wow, I've learned that. That's excellent. Thank you, Tommy.
You're welcome.
Just a reminder for the bread roll, we want someone you know who would need Jesus in their life. If there's anyone that you'd like to pray for who needs Jesus in their life.
Family members.
Yeah. Practicing my new skill. Oh. Okay. Shall we just take a couple of minutes to look at the screen and to consider what this means for us and what we might have been thinking about quietly in our heads? So if we just have a couple of moments of quiet and say say some prayers.
Is this
Sorry,
where Guy plays for you, Catherine?
Oh, yes, I wasn't sure if that was happening, but yes, if you can, that'd be lovely. So we can listen to some music and carry on adding to the board. Now we know how to do it, if that's what you do.
Me, someone left. Oh,
Lord, we pray for those who don't know you yet and don't experience the blessing of gratitude and the joy of knowing your gentle love in their lives. Amen.
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 So I think we're going to.
There's a concluding prayer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So together we say, Lord
God,
We gratefully receive your gifts of
fish
fish
and
and
bread.
Bless
Bless us
abundantly
and
we
seek
seek
opportunities
to share you
share you
those
with
around
those
us.
around
Amen.
us. Amen.
There you are.
Thanks, Dad. Sorry, Chandy. And now together, let's say the Lord's Prayer.
Our Father in heaven,
God in heaven,
Hallowed
be
be
thy
your
name.
name.
Thy kingdom
Your
come,
kingdom come,
will be done
your will be done
on
on
earth
earth
and
as in heaven.
for us this day.
Give us
Daily
today
bread.
our daily bread.
bread.
Forgive us
Forgive us our
We
as we
forgive those
forgive those who
who
sin
against us.
against us.
Lead us not into
Lead us
temptation,
not into temptation,
deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, power, and the glory,
glory,
forever.
now and forever. Amen.
Amen.
We're going to sing. So again, you can clap and sing as loud as you want, but you need to put yourselves on mute. And you might find that the words are slightly different to the words that you would normally sing. Let me just find Guy. Okay, Guy. Stephen, would you like to tell us about the cycle ride?
Yes, hello everybody. September the 12th, there will be a socially distanced sponsored cycle ride to raise money for the Bedfordshire and Hertfordshire Historic Churches Trust. Half of the money that we raise as a church comes straight back to St Hugh and St John's, so it's in our interest to try and raise as much money as possible. Because of all the current restrictions, the churches that would normally be open will not be open, but it's a test or it's a challenge for people to visit as many churches as they can in an 8-hour period. So it starts at 9 o'clock in the morning, finishes at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. You can go wherever you want to. The main thing is about getting sponsorship, and we collect all the money together. And a bit like Chandy said in the feeding of the 5,000 people, it's everybody's contributions all going together, and it's surprising how much we get. I have just received a letter yesterday, which was the a bronze certificate for the work we did last year. And that's we raised £500 for the trust last time, so we're very pleased about that. We will try our best to get a big contribution this year. I have done a suggested cycle ride round Stevenage if people want to follow that route. That's 10 miles, and it's between 10 and 12 churches. I can let you have a link to that. That's available. I've also set up a Just Giving site for us to gather all the money in. That way, there's no contact with anybody else. And look out for these posters at the church, which is the advertising thing. And if you want any more information about the event, please give me a call or drop me an email. I can answer most questions. Thank you ever so much in advance. And don't forget my Just Giving site. So if you'd like to sponsor me, I'd be more than willing to let you know how we get on with that. Thank you, everyone.
And somebody who should have known better, Moira. It was Pauline's. Do you say that?
Yeah.
It was Pauline's 80th birthday yesterday. She didn't want anyone to know that Moira told quite a lot of people. So that's her getting her church flowers.
Brandy?
Yes.
It's my birthday yesterday as well.
Okay, so should we sing happy birthday?
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
For her first.
Oh, are you going to play, Guy?
No, it's cool. I think we should just sing it.
Okay, all right then, let's just sing it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Tommy. And
happy birthday to you.
And Miriam, what did you do for your birthday? Anything nice?
Huh?
Huh?
Yeah, we went to a birthday we went to Fallon's with my mum's friend, and we had a picnic, social distance.
Did you share your picnic with anyone?
Yeah, we shared.
Good. A nice day. Okay.
And it was it was extremely hot on my birthday. And Rachel's smashing flies right there.
Thanks for sharing that. So we're going to sing the grace now. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God our Father and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us forever and amen. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God our Father and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us forever and ever. Do I need to put the words up for the last bit, or can you remember them? Yeah, put the words
Yeah.
up.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes, please. Amen.
So, oh, you've done that bit. We go
Into the
the
world.
world,
Walk in God's light. Rejoice in God's light.
God's
And
love,
to
reflect God's glory.
God's glory. Amen.
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 So let's stop the video, shall we? Maya, could I just speak to your mum, because this is going to go on Facebook?
Okay.